Welcome back to another episode of Meredyth with a Y. I am your host, Meredyth Willits, and today I have on the show Risa August, who rode her bike, oh my gosh, from Canada to Mexico. I can't even with this woman. She has a new book out, The Road Unpaved, Border to Border with a Brain Tumor and a Bike. I'm so excited to speak with her today, so stay with us. Hello, everyone. This is Meredyth with a Y, and I am your host, Meredyth Willits. Today, we are going to go deep, changing lives, and I am giving you the keys to the castle. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm so excited to talk to you.
I am so grateful to be here, Meredyth. Thank you for having me on your show.
And before we hit record, you told me that you're also from Ohio.
Yes, just southeast of Cleveland.
Unbelievable. Two Ohio girls right in the same podcast. This is fantastic.
Yes.
So I'm not even going to pretend like I can wrap my mind around what it's like to ride your bike from Canada to Mexico and recently across northern Spain. Where are you at in your healing? Bring us back to the beginning if you don't mind.
Sure. Well, it was, I would say 2010, 2011, I just finished my first Ironman race in 2010. And the following year, my friend was like, hey, do you want to go ride 500 miles around Oregon? And I said, sure.
Sure.
And yeah, right. But I started noticing changes in my body that like things weren't operating the way they used to. And
what does that look like? Like, I know I just went through menopause and I'm still trying to figure out this brain fog. I told my husband at dinner last night, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm getting Alzheimer's or this is the menopause brain fog. So not that we want everyone like, Googling every symptom, but what did that kind of like, you were obviously a healthy person who, if you're doing Ironmans, I mean, hello. So what does that look like as it's starting to creep in?
Well, one of the things that stuck out was I gained 40 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah. I had a very stringent diet and a very excessive training routine. There was also like changes in hair growth in my body, change in shoe size and ring size. And and I was bonking in my workouts. So at the time I didn't know this, but there was probably some glucose issues going on and so it just wasn't making sense to me, but I was trying everything.
Were you going to the doctor? Were doctors saying, oh, it's hormones. Oh, you need to diet better. As so many of us get gaslit.
Totally. Yes, totally. I was going to the doctor and I kept being dismissed of like, I swear one doctor was looking at me like, are you sure you're not just downing bags of potato chips in the evening and in denial? I actually started going to OA, Overeaters Anonymous, because I started actually thinking I was crazy. I thought maybe I do have a problem and I'm in denial. And I kept being told, well, you're an athlete, we're not worried. And you're just a healthy person. Oh, you're just bigger boned, all that kind of stuff.
All of a sudden,
right?
You just all of a sudden got bigger bones at 30 or whatever. I don't know how old you are, but I mean, yeah. And unfortunately, I think a lot of women are dismissed. We're dismissed that we're being hysterical. I mean, let's go back to what the 1800s, 1900s of the hysteria. It's just in your head, so on and so forth. And then you start to believe that you are maybe crazy. But 40 pounds when you're training, and I know what it means when you're saying, like, my dad was just here this weekend, and he is insane. Like, he is a crazy person. I love him, but it's protein. It's lean chicken, not an M&M would enter his lips. So I know what it takes. I've seen what it takes to have that type of diet. It would be impossible for you to gain 40 pounds unless something was horrifically wrong.
Yes, and it came on rather quick as well. I constantly felt like I was in a state of like gluten overload. I just
Mm,
was so puffy all over, like sandals wouldn't fit and rings wouldn't fit. Like it was really uncomfortable. It also felt very uncomfortable in my body.
yeah.
And so fast forward 7 years, I start getting severe headaches. And I kind of just, like I said, decided, okay, I'm the one with the problem until I start getting these severe headaches. And I'm back to the doctor quite a bit. And I said, I'm barely sleeping 2 hours a night. I'm a bit of a naturalist. So taking Tylenol or ibuprofen is out of the question. So I started looking at the more like natural remedies like CBD, to help with alleviate the pain so that I could get some sleep. Uh, and I remember my doctor again saying, a different doctor saying, well, are you sure you're drinking enough water? Or are you sure you're not overtraining? I'm not worried. You're an athlete. And then I had this bony lump growing out of the side of my head.
Whoa.
And so I said, well, how do you explain this? And she said she felt it. She crinkles her nose and says, huh, that is weird. I don't know. And so I said, can we please order an MRI? And she said, no, I'm not worried. I think you're probably just overtraining and I'm not worried. And I said, okay, well, I hear that you're not worried, but I would love to rule it out. I would love it to come back clean and to rule that out. And she said, no, I don't think so. And besides, they're really expensive.
As
And
if it's her money. I
right?
mean, I can't. It's not, ma'am, you're not paying for it. Like, ma'am, what is wrong with people?
Right,
I can't.
exactly. My finances are not your business.
Right, or my insurance, or what they will pay, or any of it.
Right.
And PS, I have a bone sticking out the side of my head from not overtraining, PS. What?
Yes, and so it finally took a third time, and I really think it was some kind of divine intervention because I was a very, quiet person. I always followed the rules and did what I was told, but something in me said, "Get the MRI." And so I found my voice in that moment and said, "Order me the MRI."
Yeah,
And 1 week later, I had a one sentence email from her saying, "You have an enlarged pituitary. Go see an endocrinologist."
yeah, there it is.
What does
Via
that mean?
text or email, right? Like, not
Yes.
even the courtesy of a phone call.
Yes,
Oh, I was wrong, but I'm not gonna say I'm sorry or, like, any of it.
exactly. Yes.
Oh, I'm so
So,
sorry you went through that. I actually just had a ultrasound for something completely benign recently, and the radiologist and I were talking about the ultrasound tech and I were talking about how people are getting these diagnoses via my chart. And because it's the diagnosis and test results are coming in faster than doctors can get to people. And if there's any doctors out there, doctors' wives, doctors' husbands, kids, grandparents, children, and friends, please do not let your patient get that information via text, email, or my chart. Like, if there's any way to stop that, whatever that is, I mean, because that is, I mean, a pituitary tumor, like, hey, you have a brain tumor via like text, basically.
yes, and that became part of my mission moving forward, like determined to change that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, what were your next steps after? So, you make an appointment with your oncologist or
And well, first the
endocrinologist?
endocrinologist, and I didn't really know what that was at the time. I had no idea. I was like, "Do I have cancer? Like, what
Right.
is this?" I knew nothing. I was trying to Google enlarged pituitary, nothing was really coming up. And so I went in and I just remember it was very surreal. And I'm sitting there and I'm staring at this skull on the screen, and there's the weird eyeballs. I don't know if anyone listening has seen an image, like an MRI image of a skull, but it's very bizarre looking. But in between the eyeballs, there's this really large gray blob. And this doctor is saying, hey, this has to come out. And furthermore, I also know what you have. I'm
Okay.
99% certain I know what you have, and an easy test will confirm that. And I was like, wait, what is, I don't even know what all this means. Back up,
Yeah.
slow down. And
Yeah.
so it went on to mean having transfenoidal surgery, so through the nose,
Mhm.
and
For those
understanding.
that are listening, so when you have a pituitary tumor, your pituitary is basically behind your eyes, between your eyebrows in that
Mhm.
rough area. So they do the surgery up through the nose versus opening your skull, which is bizarre. However, probably nicer than having your whole head opened up. So they go through the skull behind the eyes here up through the nose.
Yes, they break through a few things and get to it, and
Right.
destroy your sinuses along the way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And so did you have a support system at that time? So when I went through breast cancer, and I'll bring it up here till the day I die. So if you don't want to listen to me talk about breast cancer to align myself with the people that are coming on the show, know now I will always try to talk from my perspective. I went in going, what can I learn from this? What am I going to learn? Like, why is this in my life? Why is this in front of me? Did you have, I mean, because you've done everything and crazy like since, but when you were in it, were you like, why is this happening to me? What can I learn from it? Or were you just in the fog still? Like, where were you at when you finally started to like make this a mission? When did that kind of turn the corner from victim to mission, if that was ever even a thing, being like a victim or just confused participant, I should say?
yes. Well, there was these um, two parts of me at battle. There was what I call old Rissa and the emerging new Rissa. And the old Rissa was like, okay, well, let's just get this out so I could get on with my life. I have a busy life. I have to get back to training. I had a 250-mile bike ride in a month. I was in this old mindset of, um, this is my life and I don't have time for this. I have to get back
Okay.
to.
It was an inconvenience.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I quickly learned in the months following surgery that my life would never be the same.
As it should be, right? Like, I mean, we have to kind of, it changes us. I think that that's why this crap comes into our life, is to change us forever, right? I
Mhm.
mean, or why have it be such a big deal? Why have it be so profound? Let it change us, right?
Yes. And I resisted that for a long time. And there was a lot of grieving the old self and learning to embrace the new self. And once I did, my whole world opened up. And
Yeah.
I'm such a better person for it.
I I feel that I started my life after breast cancer because I was always waiting for the one day. Like when my husband retires, when my kids graduate, when they go to college, then I will, because I was the proverbial mom. Like there's no way that I could leave my family to go to Bali. Like that's so rude. That's so ridiculous. Like who does that? And I my saying is when you shake hands with death, you start living real quick. Although I think that you were living, I mean, you're doing triathlons and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it sounds like you were definitely living your life. So what changed from being that to the now, outside of hundreds of podcasts and awards for your book, which I will read in a second, and writing this book and, going all over the world, basically riding your bike for awareness? What was the difference between the old and the new you?
Gosh. Well, first, everything you said just resonated with me so much. And uh, the old Risso was extremely rigid and narrow. I would say narrow-minded, although I
Blinders
thought I
on.
had an expansive mind, but
Blinders. Yeah.
right. And, I didn't understand why the world, like everyone in the world, didn't operate the same way I did. And and I was very impatient and um, probably more judgmental than I would like to admit. And I might even say, I don't know if I'm allowed to swear,
You're
but
allowed to swear.
I would say I was kind of an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wouldn't have thought that. I always thought my heart was in the right place. And then I realized, well, it was in the right place on my terms.
That's so good. That's so good. Don't you think that the things that we go through in life, like we're born not judgy, we're born full of love, we're born this just like wonderful specimen, and then all of this like crap gets added on, right? The judgment from school, parents, church, friends, whatever, right? It gets kind of added on, and then we have to take it off. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Slowly, and then find our way back. I was at something recently and I was sitting next to this person and they were like just judging people around me. Like I was trying to keep up. And I was like, wow. I've been thinking about it actually. It's so weird that you're bringing this up. I've been thinking about it the last 2 days. Like, wow, like I don't think I would have even like thought to look at people that way anymore. You know, like there's so much that's been peeled back. And it feels really, really good to have that piece of me because I always tell my clients, I'm a coach is like you're a coach. We'll talk about that too. I always tell my clients the shit that you're saying about other people, multiply it by 1,000, and that's what you're saying to yourself.
Hmm.
You know, the way you judge everybody, as soon as you catch yourself judging, like realize that you're just as mean to yourself. You're just as hard on yourself. And so the less you judge other people, the kinder it just kind of is you just become more have more grace and love and kindness for the world around you and yourself at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
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 So what made you A, write a book, and B, go from Canada to Mexico on a bike? What what were you thinking?
Yes, there were times I was asking myself that actually. Uh, I remember it was actually a very profound moment in my life, and I was sitting on my sofa for another day. I had just completed 6 weeks of radiation treatments. I
Wow.
had no energy. I was lying in these tattered gray sweatpants that were all like worn out at the hem. And I had this faded purple hoodie on. And I swear I'd been living in that, it felt like for 2 years. And I was looking for another show to binge watch. And my husband at the time was like, "Hey, do you want to try taking the dogs for a walk?" And I remember thinking maybe tomorrow, not today. And so he left, and I remember thinking more, and I was like, "Gosh, this is no way to live. This isn't how I want to live. If I lay here for one more day, I feel like I'll die." And it sounds over dramatic, but that's really how I felt. I
Yeah.
felt like I would die. And so I realized in that moment that, okay, I need something to strive for, something to live for, a goal to reach, something to reignite my spark. And so I pulled out my bucket list and I'm like, what are all the things ever wanted to do that I've been putting off or making excuses? Oh, I'll do them later. Well, I can't do that. What,
Yep. The later, I'll do it later. I'll do it in a year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Someday, yes. And I remember looking at it and thinking, oh my gosh, bike coast to coast. And that was always something I wanted to do. And so I started looking at cycling routes. And the one I found that I was like, this is the one, was the Pacific Coast route from Canada to Mexico. It's a 1,845 mile journey. And I was like, that's it. And that was the day I signed up. I was like, I'm in. And
Wow.
I had 14 months to figure out how I was going to do it.
Yeah. That moment when you finally decide it's the fork in the road, right? I mean, it's the fork in the road. What am I going to do with where I'm at? I always think that I'm a big believer that we kind of chose what we wanted to accomplish in this life, right? Um, and so we're going to tap, 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 back on track, tap, 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 back on track, right? It's the hangover. And then we don't know that. Like that we know it, but we don't know it, right? Some of us know it, some of us don't know it. Some of it's, like when you're in it, you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we look back on it, we go, oh, that makes sense. I think there's so many moments that are so pivotal that you could either succumb to it. The other day, I had like this very stressful situation. I wanted a cigarette so bad. I'm an ex-smoker. And I got in the car with my husband and I'm like, let's go. I'm getting a pack. And we just drove around and I just kept breathing and driving around. And then the next day I still wanted one and we kept, like I just kept like, and it was like, do you want, because once I have a pack, that's it. It's going to be another 6 months that I'm smoking. Then I have to quit again. It's a whole cycle. And I woke up this morning and I started talking to myself yesterday. I'm like, you're going to Denver in a couple of days. Do you want to sit there and fight the fight of hiding from your daughter? And it's hiding because I don't smoke in front of my kid. So it's the whole thing, right? And there are these moments, and I know that smoking sounds like a stupid one, but I believe that there's these moments in our life where you go, I'm going to sit on this couch in gray sweatpants and a purple sweatshirt, and I'm going to let this take me. I'm going to let it take me. And I'm just going to go into a depression and I'm not climbing out. Or you're going to say, I'm going to use this as a catalyst to change the rest of my goddamn life.
Mm.
And I'm
Yes.
not going to let it take me. And I invited this in for some reason because I wasn't on the path I was meant to go on. And so I said, all right, listen here, spirit guides, or whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
If I'm not on my path, do me a favor, send me a big, huge punch in the face. Pick what you want. They chose pituitary tumor for some reason, right? And it's up to you if you're going to take that and run with it, or you're going to take that and lie down. Yeah. And I think that clearly from what you're saying and from what you are embodying in this moment, changing people's lives, coaching, writing books. I mean, you took all of it and ran with it to, the Super Bowl of your life. And you're like, I'm going to freaking ass do this shit. I don't care. I'm doing it.
Yes. My gosh. Goosebumps, Meredyth.
But it's true. I mean, think how many people would have laid on that damn couch. I mean, and just said, hand me the Doritos. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not going and doing this. So you said my former husband?
Yes. Yes.
So lots of changes made from all of this.
Lots of changes. And whom we're still very close, but yeah. It was such an awakening for me. And yeah, I mean, a lot that was in my life was no longer serving me. And so, yeah, a lot of difficult decisions came with that as well. Like, again, my higher source or spirit team, I guess they said, well, we didn't say it was going to be easy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think when things start falling away, right? Like it doesn't matter. It could be a lot of things. Like I quit drinking 2 years ago. Like there's a lot of things that'll just start. Friends fall away, family falls away, like things that are out of alignment from your frequency if they are not willing to see you the way you're going to see yourself. I just had a client the other day and she's like, I don't know what to do next. I'm like, how about you see yourself in 5 years and then reverse engineer what she does? Like, what is she doing right now? Right. And then whatever she's doing, that 5 year from now person, go eat what she's eating, go exercise like she's exercising, go hang out with the people that she hangs out with. Because sometimes I think when you're in it, it's hard to see what do I do next? But if you create that person, right? And so what is the person? as you did. What I mean, you had 14 months to ride this damn bike, 1,845 miles. I have it in my notes. That's not like going to the mall. You had to reverse engineer that woman for 14 months. How does she train? What does she eat? Where's she going to stay? And so, is this a normal trek that people do, or is this something you did alone? What did that look like with people and friends around you? Did your family think that you were now needed to be committed into a psych ward? Where were we at with this?
Well, I think the old Risa was still trying to hide the new Risa that was emerging. A lot had changed in my body. I actually felt like I didn't recognize my body. It felt like I woke up in ICU in a different body. It just wasn't functioning the same, and not just physically, but cognitively as well. And I know I talked about who I was as an athlete, but I was also like that as a professional as well. I was extremely detailed and organized. Had a very successful wedding and event planning company, and but I started noticing how my brain wasn't connecting to my body. And for example, if I told myself go right, my body might turn left. Or if I tried to type something like in an email, it would come out garbled, like just letters all smashed.
Were you warned of that? Were they saying that's from the surgery or from radiation?
The medical field has an interesting way of
sorry, rhetorical.
Not telling you, right? Yes.
Asked and answered.
So I wasn't expecting that. And I think with my job and how people came to know me, I was trying to hide all that.
Yeah,
for a
to
while.
be normal, to be normal, right? So that no one worries.
Yes.
Or asks questions or bothers you already.
Yes, absolutely. So, sorry, I forget the rest of your question.
Oh, just all like what you had to go through to be able to ride that. And is there a playbook somewhere to make that ride?
Yeah, so it's a designated cycling route.
Okay.
So and so I signed on with called a semi-supported tour, where a van transports your gear from town to town, because I was now dealing with complicated medications. I wasn't sure how my body was going to respond to 41 days straight of riding. It's one thing to go out and do a 65-mile one-day ride, but then you have however long you want to recover afterwards. This was 41 days of 55 to 75 miles a day, and I had no idea how I would respond to that. And so I went with a semi-supported trip. There were 9 other people on the same trip. None of us knew each other. I went in very much.
There were 9 of you? Mm-hmm. There were 9 cyclists?
There was 10 total. So yeah, 9 other cyclists, sorry. And I remember going in with the mindset, old Risa, like, I'm going to do this on my own. I need to heal myself. This is all about me. And if these people think I'm going to be friends with them, like, not happening. And
I think we might have been the same person prior, because I sorry to interrupt, but it's like I'm listening to you going, oh my gosh, it's the superwoman. Like, it's like, I can do it. I'm here to save the day. I can do everything. I can handle everything. Like, I need no help. That's one thing I learned with cancer, was I learned to be vulnerable and ask for help. Like, I need you to sit with me. I need you to hold my hand. I need you to go to the doctor's appointment. I need an extra set of ears, like whatever it is. Like, I learned to not be a superwoman, as much as humanly possible for a woman to put that sword down. But I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm just listening to you going, oh my God, it's the same.
Yes, I get it so much. And I remember even thinking that there were people that were like, well, you can stop anytime you want and get a flight home. And in my mind, I was like, are you crazy? That's absurd. Like, no.
Yep.
And so there was still that I mean, determined, Rissa, but also stubborn, and I'm going to show everyone and prove to everyone, I don't want people to look at me differently. But yeah, so I ended up completing the ride and writing a story about it, and my mindset around support and how I wanted to move forward in my life. That was kind of the starting point of that change.
So for myself, I live away from family. I've been traveling around with my husband and his job since we got married, so around 34 years old. And I am super aware that every time we've moved has given me another opportunity to reinvent myself, right? Because the old people, seeing the old Meredyth, I get to leave her in Ohio, in Philly, in Florida, and then become a whole new me, right? Because I believe that the world around us reflects back who we can or are allowed to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if we're around our high school friends our whole life, they might see me as 16-year-old Meredyth who was a knucklehead or a nerd or whatever the words are that they, and so you feel that those eyes, right, defining you.
Mm-hmm.
What was your proximity to the people that knew you, and how was that, based on that information, how was that to redefine yourself or reinvent yourself during this time?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Uh,
Sorry.
yes, I think I have to think about that, because there, like I said, there was this part of me really trying to show up as who I always was. So,
Okay.
and so the people around me were kind of like, "Oh, Risa doing another crazy thing that no one else would ever do." And
So you were
um,
trying to get back to stasis. You were just trying to find your center back at the beginning.
yeah, I think I thought that's where I was supposed to be, but I thought that because that's where everyone else put me. Oh, she's the detailed, organized person. She plans everything. Everything's, aligned and ducks are in a row. And she's the super athlete out there doing incredible things. And
So people saw you as amazing. And so you wanted to get back to amazing, which you did
I
through your
had to
ride.
uphold that perception of me,
Right. And then you decided to say, I can't, I don't. So you got back to where they saw you. And then when did you decide, holy shit, this isn't necessarily who I want to be anymore? Like, I got there, I did the ride, I did it in the same amount of days as quote healthy people did it, and now I don't know if that's really how I want to be defined anymore.
Yes, I don't know that there was necessarily one moment, but I remember finishing the ride and it feeling anticlimactic, really. I was like, well, my road doesn't end here. I still have a whole bunch of stuff I have to deal with, like I have to go home and deal with.
Yeah.
The road goes on, and so I think it was slowly over time of, again, practicing using my voice, um, and living life on my terms. But it was a little by little, like chipping away at the old self,
The
and
facade.
yes, and allowing those new parts of me to emerge, or maybe the suppressed or hidden parts of me emerge.
I love that idea that you got done and you were like, I don't know, there was that moment of, I feel like that there's that moment of clarity of like, it's not what I do anymore, but who I am. Like it's me who woke up this morning, not me who does. It's just me who is,
Yes, yes.
right? Like I have more to offer than the boxes I can check.
Absolutely, and getting untangled from how the other people around us perceive us, like getting just untangled from that mess of,
Yeah.
well, but it doesn't matter because I'm gonna do this on my way, like on my terms. I'm
Yeah.
gonna wear a neon green button down if I want to, and
Yeah.
So it was little by little finding that and really letting her out.
Which is so freeing. I think there's so many women that, back in the 50s, we would say, like, had their lipstick before they woke up the husband woke up in the morning, and then before they came home at night, and choo choo with the perfume, and the house is vacuumed really quickly. It's that kind of facade, if you will, of perfection. And I think it's such a gift when either by naturally we realize we just have no more F's to give, right? As there's no more F's. We have no more F's. We've woken up to that, either by way of age or being knocked down or illness. And I always think that people that invite, again, by way of course correction, like I said, you wanted something for your life before coming here, and you're like, all right, guys, whatever needs to happen, make sure I get there. And they're like, all right. And so by whatever way possible, fortunately or unfortunately, we get there. I think that people that get there must want so badly to live their life authentically, and what a gift that is to be able to do so. Because I know, and I know so many people that they don't take that gift and use it. They either they stay the victim, they don't get vulnerable, they still stay within the facade, or like what they can accomplish is who they are. And I'm starting to realize that what I do, like this, for example, and I'm sure because I want to talk about, because you also are a Gestalt practitioner as well. I want to talk about that. And also where you're at in your healing journey. I think that, we've been given a gift, even though it was a hard road. I think that gift of authenticity and zero F's is really a gift, especially when you're younger, especially when we have decades, hopefully, to see that through and inspire other people. I think it's huge. And I also think that when you're given this gift and you do decide to get off the couch like you did that day, it's because somewhere someone upstairs knows that you're going to do the bike ride, and you're going to write the book, and you're going to get on a podcast early in the morning, and you're going to share your story. And I think that that's a huge part of the gift. I think it's a huge part of the gift. So, amongst other things, thank you for rising to the occasion that day, and picking that road. I think it's really outstanding.
Wow. Oh my gosh, you're going to make me cry.
I'm serious. I'm serious. I think how many people have beautiful voices, but I look at like Lady Gaga and I go, but she was willing to do it. She was willing to wear the meat suit. And so many people are not willing to wear the meat suit and arrive at the Grammys in an egg. Like there's people that are willing to do it, and there's people that are not willing to do it. And you were willing to do it.
Definitely.
You were willing to do it. So where are you at in your healing journey, and what the heck is a Gestalt practitioner?
That's a great question. So my healing journey, it continues to unfold. I think that was kind of stepping into the new awareness of like, I'll never be done. I'll never get to, you were talking about like, if I get to here, once I get here, and I realize there is no here or there or that point or end point. And so just like the US-Mexican border, it wasn't an end point. It keeps going. And so my healing journey continues to unfold. I keep learning continually. And it's not always unicorns and rainbows. But as a Gestalt practitioner, let me back up a little bit. I remember my mentor saying to me at one point when I was first diagnosed that, well, you realize the pituitary is the control center of your body, right? And I said, well, I didn't know that, and she said, well, how often in your life had you felt controlled or felt the need to control? And suddenly, like, it's like,
What is 24/7 for $300, Alex?
that's exactly.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, right?
Yes, and so I started, and she happens to be, she is, someone who pioneered actually, the modality of Gestalt partnering with horses.
Oh, wow.
And so I started learning more about Gestalt, which is a German word that loosely means wholeness,
Oh,
and it's a very experiential approach to coaching or therapy, uh, and very non-traditional. But it's all about healing the parts of ourselves that maybe had traumatic experiences. Could be back from childhood or from 2 days ago,
yeah.
um, and so I really, I have this very, uh, I live in my mind and my brain a lot, and I've had to train myself to kind of move into my body and trust and go on feeling, and so it was a new realm for me, but I started exploring it and getting curious, and seeing how much it was changing people's lives. And so I went on to become a certified practitioner myself, uh, and again, I'm constantly evolving.
Yeah, I always look at it like swimming, like you come up and then you like raise your head and then you're like, "Okay, I got this. Everything's good." And then all of a sudden it's like, "Oh no, there's another layer. Hold on, I gotta okay." And then you kind of go up again and then you're like kind of treading water and you're like good for a little while and then something else comes up and asks you and I think people look at it like I'm testing myself or God's testing me. It's like, no, you're doing this. You're doing this to yourself. You just don't realize that you're the one that's saying, "Are you like?" That's what the smoking thing the last 2 days. It's like, "Are you sure? Are
Mm.
you sure you want this good life? Are you sure you?" And it's just like, all right, am I gonna forever? But further, just for the record, forever and ever for the rest of my life, it's going to be gray sweatpants and a purple sweatshirt. That is the visual from here on, which direction I want to go. It doesn't, whether I'm wearing it or not, I'm just going to remember like, I'm wearing the gray sweatpants. Direction am I going to go? Because isn't that the truth though? Like, are you sure? Like, you finished that. So at the end of hitting Mexico, you were like, okay, I did it, right? So
Mhm.
what made you do northern Spain? Was that for you? Was that for them? Was that
Mhm.
for what?
Yes. Well, first of all, I'm definitely going to ask myself that question moving forward. Are you sure?
Are you
That's such a
sure?
potent question. I love it. And it really gives us the power to, yeah, make that important decision. But yeah, so again, my bucket list now, like, lives right in front of me.
Okay.
And I started going hog wild with doing everything, taking like Bollywood dance and hip hop dance, and I joined an aerial silks class, and I tried indoor skydiving and got pretty good at it,
Isn't
and
that so fun?
it's so fun.
I like am the queen of buying the next 5-person pass every
Yes,
time I go there. I'm like, "Oh my god, I have to buy the next 5 per" like, we go there, like, I just went there for Mother's Day. I took all the kids and their, like,
that's
friends, and
fun.
we went there for Mother's Day and just, like, to sit there and, like, because it's such a high. I can't do it anymore, because I had a shoulder injury and you, like,
Oh yeah,
basically turn yourself inside out, but for the
yes,
couple times that I did go, I just absolutely it's like this indoor rush of
yes,
adrenaline, so I'm always buying the next 5-person pass.
so
Sorry to
fun.
interrupt. Do
Yes, it's so
well, let me ask you this, because like, you're making me think, because I feel like I am kind of on the treadmill a little bit of, like, I have 3 podcast interviews today, like, that's wacko, right? Like, I am going to Denver at the end of the week, so I'm trying to get it all in. Do you think that people should make a bucket list? Because I'm just sitting here listening to you going, "I should take a damn dance class. I should go do that." Like, do you think that people are missing out and doing it eventually because they're not having something in front of them to do it now? I feel like that's happening right in this conversation.
Hmm. Well, I know for me and my temperament, the way I operate, like lists are fantastic. I love
Yeah.
lists and I love checking things off my list. And so for me, it is really helpful to see it in front of me. And there's something about writing it that it's like putting it out there. You can't unwrite it. It's written
Oh, I
already.
love that.
And so as my body was declining, like I went on to Peru and Machu Picchu, and then I also had the Camino de Santiago in there in northern Spain, and I knew physically I couldn't hike the the pilgrimage route anymore. I couldn't do it. It's 500-mile route, um and then I started noticing that people are biking it now for various reasons. And I was like, I can still do that. And so I didn't let that stop me. And I was like, I'm still going to do this. And it challenged me on every level. And again, another kind of page in my evolution and humility of, okay, body is changing and my likes are and dislikes are changing. And so I don't know that I ever need to go out and do a super challenging solo ride in crazy terrain in another country again. I think this girl maybe wants to be a little more pampered moving forward. So
But
again,
but
all
that
the
don't you think, as you and I are sitting here right now in this moment of connection, don't you think the statement, "I think I'm ready to be a little bit more pampered," is just as vulnerable and courageous to the old you
yes.
as riding a bike 1,845 miles,
Yes. Oh my gosh, you called me right out on that. Yes.
right?
Absolutely. Hmm.
I mean, because that's a big statement for the you of 2005.
Yes.
"I'm just gonna chill out."
Yes.
What? How dare you,
Absolutely.
right? And I think for a lot of women, um, sitting, especially, I don't know how old you are, but like being raised by a boomer myself, like you sleep when you're dead, you're up at Saturday morning doing baseboards, and why are you being lazy on the couch, etc. We as women, I know men deal with this as well, like you are what you do, you are how much money you make. But I think for women, there's that old, like, I'm being lazy, I'm having a lazy day, oh, I'm
Hmm.
what we have all the excuses, oh, I just finished all the laundry, so now I'm going to sit down, I
Yes.
just cleaned the whole house, so now I'm going to watch TV, so like we're constantly looking to justify rest and self-care.
Yeah.
And so I think that where you're at is exciting to listen to, even I know I've known you for 50 minutes, is that all of this is the 1845. There's a sweatshirt in there, right? Right? The 1845. That's a good sweatshirt right there.
Yeah.
Because it could mean a lot, right?
Hmm.
1845 is, can you sit on the couch for 18 minutes and 45 seconds and not make an excuse as to why you're doing nothing,
Oh
or
my
why you're
gosh,
just reading a
brilliant.
book, or
That's
why you're
brilliant.
just,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. It doesn't, yeah, it doesn't have to be 1,800 miles. It can, like you said, be your own 1845.
Your own, what's your 1845? Like,
Mhm.
like you don't need an excuse to do it, and you don't need to feel like, you just do it. Just do it because you want to, because it feels good. Um, yeah. I mean, maybe you did wake up in another body when you woke up from that surgery. Maybe,
Yeah.
like who knows? That's the question. But that is, I think that you have so much to share with the world. Um, and when you can look at, I don't, are you at the place of looking at your health scare experience? Are you at the place that you can look at it as a blessing and a lesson?
Absolutely. Yeah. Such a gift. And I still, I face the challenge of my body declining, um and it actually just, it fuels me more to okay, live on my terms, make it count, live the life I want. And so I really do see the gift in that because, I think we touched on this earlier. We're surrounded by people who they don't ever get that opportunity to view things from a different perspective, and I don't mean it to call it an opportunity. Other people might not, but I really saw it as an opportunity to be a better person and to live life fully.
Yeah. I see my breast cancer as being the pivotal moment of my life that shifted everything. Before then, I was like complacent. It was like tomorrow is fine. Mm-hmm. It was like I had all the time in the world. There was a million things. Like I just took everything for granted. And now, and I think that I'm stronger too. Like I think that I'm mentally stronger. I think that these things, you're either going to get off the couch or you're not. Moments, and if you take advantage of them, that's huge. So your book, hold on, let me pull this up because it's kind of like, holy crap, 5-star readers favorite, independent press award winner, International Impact Book Awards winner, Next Generation Indie Book Awards winner, Regal Summit Book Award winner. I mean, do you remember all those?
I actually just won a 6th one, the William Shakespeare Award with the Independent Author Academies, which, I continue to be surprised, but also like grateful. And I just submitted my screenplay for the book as well. So.
Stop. Well, if that happens, you have to come back because I need a bump up. Have a freaking screenwriter on the podcast. I have an acting coach later on today. She's an acting coach. She was a showgirl all over the world. She's going to be on today at 1:00. She's been a acting coach for people in This Is Us and all these other TV shows. So, but if you get that, you have to come back and dawn me with your presence. That's so exciting.
I would love.
I mean, that would be that's a good. I would go see that movie.
Yes, I hope they add the dark humor that I actually have and wrote into my book. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you so much for being here with me today. Your website is risaaugust.com. This is all going to be in the show notes. Your book, where can they buy your book?
You can get my book on Amazon or you can find it on my website. You can order it from your local bookstore if they were not carrying it. And
that's The Road Unpaved, Border to Border with a Brain Tumor and a Blank. Again, 1,845 miles she rode from Canada to Mexico. And your company is Feather and Sage Coaching. Mm-hmm. And so you do one-on-ones? Is that group?
I do mainly one-on-ones, yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so very much for being here with us. I so appreciate your story. I can't believe how many things that we have in common besides just being in Ohio together.
Yes.
That's outstanding. So thanks for being here with us. And I will see you guys all. If you're listening to the podcast, I'll be back on the podcast here next week. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, I'll be back here in like an hour for another interview. Thanks, dear.
Thank you, Meredyth.
Thanks for listening. If you would like to connect on a more personal level, head over to meredythwillits.com or on Instagram at Meredyth with a Y for behind-the-scene footage and outtakes. Please subscribe and come back each week for more Meredyth with a Y. Thanks again for listening. Cheers.